intros too. Okay, we're live. Oh my gosh, we've got one person so far that's ready there on Facebook. So good morning. We are here with Tampa Bay Empower Events Tampa Bay, and we're doing another Tuesday talk. And today's talk is all about social media. So we've got an awesome panel here this morning. We've got China from Skep Media. We've got Corinne from Jet Set Wed. We've got Katie from Over the Top Rental Linens. Kristen Berry, the Dashing Ginger. And we have Sierra Kelly. She is hair inspired by Sierra. So today we're going to talk about all things social media. We're going to talk about scheduling, not scheduling, stories, reels. I haven't done a reel yet, so I'm very interested to see if anyone's had any success with that. We're going to go first into some introductions. So I'm going to kick it off. So I'm Ashley. Ashley, I'm a photographer. I'm here in Tampa, and I'm an ambassador for Empower Events. Empower Events was created in the spring as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic and trying to help our wedding and event industry professionals with grants. So we have awarded over 237 $500 grants to businesses, small businesses, front of the house, back of the house, catering, like all of the different people that make events happen. So we're really proud of that. And we're going to be doing some more fundraising so we can get some more grants to people, because we're still dealing with having to reimagine how events work. So if you guys can spread the word, that would be awesome. And today we're just going to have a really awesome talk that we're excited to have people be able to participate in and ask us questions, hopefully. And by the end, we're going to find out what our next topic is going to be for October. And hopefully Sierra will be able to join us back. She's having some issues with the microphone. So we're going to kick it off to introduce the rest of our panel this morning. So China, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm China Ratner. I am the owner-founder of Skep Media. I've been in social media events for roughly 7+ years. I tend to focus on bringing a in-person brand and putting them online, helping them translate what they do in real life to what they want to do online. I'm here in the Tampa Bay area. I tend to stick pretty local with the clientele that I have. And I am currently taking on new clients because it's been interesting navigating this time period with COVID. So getting back into the swing of things and super happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool. All right. And Corinne, Jet Set Wed.
Hello. My name's Corinne with Jet Set Wed. I do wedding planning and design. We were doing a lot of international weddings, about 3 a year out of the 13 total that we take on a year. But of course, now we're a little bit more home-based, which is Naples, Fort Myers area. So we, primarily focus on design, and been doing it for about 12 years. And I'm happy to be here on this panel because I love social media.
Awesome. Cool. All right, Katie, would love to hear from you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Katie with Over the Top Rental Linens, and I'm based out of the Tampa area for almost the past 8 years. But I'm responsible for all of the Tampa area down to, I go see Corinne and past Corinne to Marco. And right now, with everything going on, I'm doing Orlando and Detroit and Nashville, and
oh wow,
so just a big hodgepodge of things. But yes, I'm also with Ashley in Empower Events. And just glad that that's a resource that's come about for the rest of us in this industry, because, you know, obviously I don't need to tell you guys, we've all been hit so hard. But so anyway, that's me. I'm here in the Tampa area, but we'll travel.
Awesome. Cool. All right, Kristen.
Hi, so I am Kristen with the Dashing Ginger. I also have Willow here. She's my Dashing Ginger mascot. I do product branding and headshot photography. I do full branding for small businesses, especially small little startups who are, just starting out in business. So I'll do full graphic design. We'll do labels. We'll do packaging. We kind of are a one-stop shop for small businesses. And then I also do content creation and social media management for small businesses in Tampa Bay.
Awesome. Very cool. So that is everybody on our panel today. And I'm going to talk about Instagram because that's the only social media that I do. So I'm really excited to hear what everyone else is doing for all the other things and Pinterest and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. So social media is what we're talking about today. And I'm going to kick it off with asking what you guys do if you have a strategy. So I feel like that can be pretty fluid, and it probably is evolving month to month at this point. But if you guys want to dive in with what your strategy is and what struggles that you like have and maybe that you've overcome, or maybe something that's like continuing to pester you. Anyone want to go? I just started scheduling, so that's been a breakthrough for me. I started using Tailwind. You guys heard of Tailwind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I was using Later. Well, I say using, but I had Later and I never actually used it. So I found Tailwind through another photographer out on the West Coast, and it's been game changer for me. It's really helped with my workflow. And you can also do it for Pinterest. So you could do Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, and you can just like set everything to auto post, or you can push it manually. You can do captions, you can do hashtags. It's really, really cool, and it's helped me a ton. So I haven't quite stuck to my strategy of how often I want to post, but it's kept me at least somewhat consistent. So I'm more like hitting that realistic part of the goal, not quite the idealistic. What are you guys doing? Are you scheduling? Are you going like real time with most everything?
I use Planoly. So it's a similar platform. You can schedule it, does Pinterest. And then I just have it, which is this is a taboo. It doesn't really work, I'm told, but I have it where, you know, it'll just post whatever I have on Instagram. It'll just post that on Facebook, which, you know, I've been told time and time again that that's not effective, but I do not go on Facebook, and I don't feel that my clients do either. So I feel like it's fine for me. So I just continue with that. And then Pinterest, I'll do it scheduling too. And I just started using a plugin. What is it called? Maybe one of you ladies know, where it'll just automatically post anything that I put on Instagram. It'll then go to my Pinterest and post it there, but it's not through Planoly. It's like it takes it from and it does it on blogs too. So anything that I post on my blog, it'll automatically, it's like Zip or something like that.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing. We need to
It'll post it from my, yeah. So when I do a blog post, it'll take all those images and post it onto Pinterest. I'm sure that if I did it more manually, it would be more targeted, and my hashtags and the search and the captions would be more effective. But I always say doing something is better than nothing. So that's where I'm at right now with it. But yeah, scheduling posts, I usually just do like noon time. That's when a lot of my clients, noon and evenings, and then weekends. That's when most of my clients are on. So that's when I just schedule my posts to come out. And then I try to load at least a week's worth, just one a week
at
or
a time.
One a day. I mean, yeah.
Are you looking at your analytics to find your high traffic times? Or are you just like guessing?
Like, this is success so far. Like,
I love it.
That'll be the next step, is to like really look at my analytics and to see what is working, and even like fine tuning what posts are working. I mean, a lot of myself and my family works, but that doesn't visually fill my like heart when I see my feed. So I'm kind of like working for both of us, like my client and just me and my aesthetics and just wanting a beautiful feed. I'm always kind of fighting that line.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that we all know that everyone wants to see us. They want to see who you are, your face, your brand, and it can be, you know, exhausting to try to keep up with creating that content. And of course, like we love to serve people, obviously, with our industry. So I think for me, especially, like I could speak for myself, that I want to show my clients like more often than I want to show myself. And so that's definitely a struggle, because if you didn't know, like those are the ones that perform the most. Like you'll get the most likes, the most interaction from yourself. So it is a fun balance. Kristen is probably one of the best self promoters out there. She's really great at creating her content.
Self on there, you know, like I feel like, especially with strategy, one thing that I live by, even before getting to scheduling is a content calendar. So literally I wouldn't be, especially since I have other clients that I'm posting for, I wouldn't be able to live without my content calendar, which is so funny because I don't do it for my own business. So it's like, what's the balance between, putting love into my business, the same amount of like attention that I'm putting into others, which I mean, it's never the same. But hi, can we hear you?
You made it.
I don't know.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yay. So
Okay.
sorry,
Yeah, I
guys.
can now.
Awesome.
Say one thing that definitely helps me is I try to plan at least 2 weeks out, especially for clients. I'm trying to get better at doing it for myself, but planning for 2 weeks and scheduling for 2 weeks because new things pop up for me at least every 2 weeks there's new content there. So at least for 2 weeks I'm kind of like, okay, it's done. I take one day to plan it all out. I schedule it all out, which for me, I've been using Creator Studio. I'm like, for a bunch of my clients, what's the most budget-friendly way to keep their costs down as well? So Creator Studio is through Facebook, which actually, since you don't have Facebook, it can be hard for you to do. But you can actually schedule Facebook and Instagram through Creator Studio through Facebook, and it's free. And I just think it's really easy and simple to use. So.
And then does that post just to your Facebook?
And
or can you have it go and Instagram? Okay, so it goes both ways.
Right.
And do you do 2 different posts for each platform, or are you just feeding the same?
Sometimes. So sometimes I will push the same content, and sometimes I'm posting different, which makes it super easy because whenever you go on there, you can pick Facebook or Instagram. So if it is 2 different posts, it's not like, oh crap, like this is just one platform that'll post to both. Like you can pick and choose which one you wanted to share to.
Right.
And it links directly, so I can even log in on I'll be a admin for my clients on Facebook. So it just, even when I go into my Creator Studio, anyone that I'm associated with on Facebook, all of their profiles are right there. So it's kind of like a free tool for scheduling. Just all of the clients are in there. I don't have to pay for something else monthly.
Right.
Yeah, that's really cool. Awesome. And yeah, so we're talking a lot about the tools and the apps that we're all using to try to make social media more manageable. Is there any other tools that we haven't mentioned yet that you guys are using?
I'm a big advocate. I mean, I'm sure most people are for Canva just because it's so freaking easy. The only thing I will say with Canva is that a lot of businesses will go into the templates, like the pre-made stuff, and literally not edit any of it. So if you're on Canva, you can see that they're literally just plugging in. So I encourage anyone who does use it to take an extra 5 minutes and change it up just a little bit. And it's really great, especially if you have the pro version, that you can plug in all of your brand colors, your fonts, everything. So it is just boom, 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 super easy. And then along with that, if you're an on-the-go person, like personally for my Instagram, I don't have a specific brand or business Instagram for Skep Media because a lot of the clients that I get are business owners that I've worked with through the influencer community. But a lot of my stuff is on the go. So I'm a big phone user and creating stuff on the fly. Illustrator and Photoshop, super, super easy on your phone. I don't like Canva on the mobile version. I don't think it's user friendly.
Yeah.
And it kicks you out all the time. But Unfold is great for quick, easy stories. Mojo or Moho is great for animated stories. You have to pay for it. I think it's like $40 a year. But it definitely gives you a brand just like a step up. It looks super cool. You don't have to really know a ton of graphic design or editing or anything. You just kind of just plug and go. And Cliptomatic, if you're a big person on stories and you like to go and educate or talk about your brand, I always advise people to put text on their stories because you're not always readily available to listen on those. You can read and follow along. It also keeps viewers on your story for much longer. When they read and listen, it keeps them watching through all of your stories. So those are some of my favorites that I encourage people to use.
That's such a great tip to do text on stories. I think that's like such a huge impact. And like you said, keeping people on your stories. I know that if I'm laying in bed and all my kids are asleep, like I just have to swipe past, and every time I swipe past people that I love, I'm hurting their algorithm. So but if they had text, I would be there. So that's definitely huge.
Yeah, and with Cliptomatic, the only kind of downside to it is that you have to record it in Cliptomatic, download it, and then upload it as a story. So you can't go in and actually like edit the full text. It's just a speak and type of thing. But I mean, it's still better than
And I think even just like roughly, you know, typing up what you covered in that little clip is like easy and effective.
Yeah. Cool. So Cliptomatic will like just directly dictate exactly what you spoke. And then another way to do it, if you want to just go on the fly in the app, is to just at least give somebody like a little
blurb,
you know, a cliff note of what you're talking about. Yeah, because there's so many situations where you can't listen to the story and then you miss it. So it's that extra step will really help people stay on there. I love that. Are there any other apps and things? I use Moho or Mojo, and I also love InStories.
Yes.
They have some really clean ones. I did end up paying for it last year, and luckily I did use it. So now I'm like hooked on it, and so I have to just keep paying for it because it's awesome.
It's also really
clean.
For Reels and for TikTok too. In Shot.
Really?
Like if you pre-record it, you
edit
it and put text on it. So much easier than trying to do it in the app sometimes.
Cool.
Oh,
All
that's smart. I do have to say, I don't know if everybody is with me on this, probably not, but I am not as into stories that are like really graphically beautiful. Like I'm there for stories for real life. Like I want to see them look real. And if it is like really like just beautiful and like a Canva, you know, plugin, then I kind of swipe. Like I'm not really interested in seeing that. It doesn't feel real to me and authentic, and that's why I'm there for stories.
That's like really interesting.
I don't know if that's just me, but
yeah. What do you guys think?
I definitely think if it's overly beautified, like too much, for me, it reminds me of like seeing an Instagram story ad. So I just click, like too done up.
Yeah, it feels like they're selling me.
Which is
I'm there for me.
Super subtle.
Like trick me, please.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of
do you guys use Splice? Have you guys talked about Splice at all?
Slice?
No.
What is Slice?
So SPLICE, Splice.
Oh,
I don't know if you can hear me well. Yeah. You guys are familiar with Splice?
No.
It's like the real deal video. Like it may not be as easy, and it's not like template form. You literally have to upload your content. But for me, like it's like the real deal. You actually go in and you minimize and you trim the videos and you put one in front of the other. You can write the text on top of it. You're basically like a producer. That may not be appeasing to some. Some may want like, you know, more something that's a little bit more easier. You can add your music in from the background directly from your iTunes, or like they have a music sample that you can use. You'll think you can, you know, audition for any kind of or interview for any type of like camera roll, production role after that. So I really love it.
Yeah,
you definitely have to set aside time for it though. You certainly have to set aside time for it because it's not something as easy per se. It's a little bit more complex, but it is pretty user friendly once you get familiar with what those settings mean. If you have any experience with editing at all with video. So
that is so cool. I've seen some of the ones that you've made, and they look like very well done, and they're very impactful. Like it really like does look like this is what I do. You know, whatever your goal is, it really comes across really well in that.
Is that something that you could like do? So I'm not with the TikTok yet. Like I try, but then I'm afraid that like it's gonna be posted and I'm like not ready and I didn't do something right. Is that something that you could like create the video in Splice? Because I would feel more comfortable, I think, creating that video and then having it completed and then uploading it into TikTok instead of like doing it on that platform where it could be cool.
100%. 100%. Cool. You can slow it down, move it faster. You can do whatever you want to your video. Like the insert effects, whatever you need. So yeah.
Because I would love a platform that I can just comfortably play. Yeah.
I feel like we could talk about that posting anxiety, because I can't be the only one. Sometimes I have that. Like I'll have this whole notepad because I'm a note taker full of things, these ideas, and I'm like, no, it's not ready. It's not time. Like, what am I waiting on? The moon, the sun? I don't know. And I just talk about it.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just that having that comfortability that it's not in the platform. I'm not designing it in the platform where it could be posted accidentally, prematurely. If I can create it like off that platform and know that it's ready and then publish, I think I would like slam through some TikToks, but it's just like, I don't know if that's a possibility. I didn't even know you could like upload video not in TikTok.
Yeah, that's like one of the big differences I've noticed from TikTok and Reels, minus it all being like Vine again, where it's 15 seconds versus TikTok, you have a full minute. Is that with TikTok, the actual in-app editor is actually pretty great. It's really, before Reels happened, people were using TikTok to edit stories for Instagram
and then pull out.
Upload.
Got it.
It definitely takes time to play around with, but there is the draft feature, which is really nice too. So you can create videos, as many as you want, save them to draft, go back in and add videos or add photos. So the posting anxiety is like kind of there, but you know you can just kind of save it for later if you want to go back. But like with Instagram Reels, I feel like people are making videos outside of Reels to then upload onto Reels. So it's not really like you're creating it in Instagram, you're creating the content to now upload to Instagram. So it's like really interesting to see the difference of those two similar platforms now.
Gotcha. Okay.
And also, what's your name? It says Jet Set. I'm assuming that's
Corinne. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Corinne. Yes, Jet girl.
I love that. I'm like Jet. I'm like, hey, you never know. Also on TikTok. Also on TikTok, there's an option where you can like leave them to private, so you don't even have to go public with the video. So there's like you can choose. You know how on Instagram you can do your close.
So like I'm gonna have you 5 girls in it.
Yeah. Like, does that look okay? We're like, yes, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. You can set it like strictly to private if you want. Absolutely.
That's what all my TikTok videos are, that I'm like, I'm not going to post these for but I just want to do these dance challenges and then just like.
I have so many of those just like privately in the back where no one can see them.
That's great.
That's awesome.
You guys you've mentioned like so many different platforms like to use, and like I don't have to go on to social media like to post for my company and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very much a beginner. What would you recommend to start out? Because I mean, everybody has a different opinion on here, but is there a consensus as to what might be easiest to start?
I would say just in-app. Like just not getting any of these and just posting regularly, and just feeling out like what gets more attention before you go to, challenge yourself with scheduling, So I would just go in app. That's my opinion.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, something simple.
Yeah, I also think too, it all kind of depends on who you're looking for, as far as like who you want to be using your services. So like I recently got married a month ago yesterday, and I got married in Captiva Island, which is near Fort Myers. Thank you.
That's where most of my weddings are. Where was it? What venue?
Sea Oats.
Oh, beautiful house.
Cool.
Yeah. So the original location we were supposed to do was in South Africa, because my family is over there. That obviously did not work out. So we tried to plan a wedding in Tampa and didn't work out. So I planned a wedding from 2.5 hours away, and I found all of my rentals and everything by searching on Instagram. I did Fort Myers furniture.
That's what I do for my destination clients. It's all Instagram. That's how I find all of my vendors.
Yeah. So I didn't even go to Google. I didn't go to Facebook. I went right into Instagram. I looked at the hashtags of, what in that area and everything. So, I mean, that's literally how I found every single person, minus the Airbnb. So
we're looking for like the location and then the service in the hashtag. So like Fort Myers rentals, Fort Myers florist, wedding florist, stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay.
So Katie, I think another thing for Katie specifically, I feel like just showcasing vendors that you think would give you business on your Instagram is huge. So whether or not they're even using your product, just being top of mind and showcasing them would be a nice thing to do too.
Okay. Thank you.
Very cool. Awesome. Do you guys use a lot of hashtags? Are you guys using them?
Yeah.
Yes.
The more specialized, the better. Like, I had a client recently who found me through Tampa product photographer. So make sure you're adding location in there. And sometimes I'm like, who's
Yeah.
searching for this? Like, even if I am typing it in, there's like 5 people who are using that hashtag. I don't know. Someone's going to be looking for something that's specialized, and they're going to find you. So this was someone who was traveling from way up north. They were coming down here, and they had a product in like a Sam's Club, and they were going to be on Shark Tank, coincidentally, which they're like the nicest, sweetest clients ever. But she's like, we're having a pop-up. I just honestly was searching Tampa product photographer, and you were in that group, and she never would have found me otherwise if I wasn't, constantly posting that. So even if you think, oh, this is like really specialized to like what we do, someone's going to end up searching for that. That's going to be your target or ideal client.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
And
how
then
I
using,
photographer too. Same thing.
Right.
Literally.
yeah.
And she did our engagement photos. She's done 4 of our friends now, all because I went on Instagram and typed in Tampa photographer, and it was like the 4th person. And now she's got all this business just from one hashtag search.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And being consistent on which ones you use. Like, I know I do that for my website. I'll do a lot of like Tampa wedding photographer, but I always, like, I'm very guilty of not doing it for Instagram. So like picking a few and at least just putting that on everything. Or would you say like, being more specific?
I mean, being more specific is always better, right? But again, it's like do something rather than nothing. So I can say, and I'm sure with all of these platforms that we mentioned, like Planoly, like I use, you can just do like the hashtag and it'll save groupings of hashtags. So you just hit the hashtag icon and it'll be like, I do like a destination grouping or a local grouping, or I have another company, So Set, where we do branding. And then I'll do like a grouping for that. So it makes it so easy. And then I'll just add additional, more specific things to those general tags.
There's like a happy medium when you're looking for like the perfect hashtag, because you don't want to just put, like, there's a difference between putting Tampa photographer versus like South Tampa photographer or Tampa wedding photographer. So you want to also definitely be aware of like what other people think of this, but then also I don't want to be flooded out by the million other people who also post using that same exact hashtag. So you also, I think like Tampa photographer versus South Tampa photographer, right? So then that'll kind of narrow something down as well. That's kind of what the market is that you're looking for. Same for me, like Tampa hairstylist, then I'm competing against every single person out there that's also using Tampa hairstylist. So if I'm not posting as frequently and someone goes on there and searches, they're not going to see my post from 2 weeks ago because it's been flooded out by everyone else who has also used that exact same hashtag. So I think there's kind of like a feel out there to see. And also you have to search yourself with the hashtag. So if you're using this specific one, be definitely sure to search it and also see where you fall within that category when you go to look it up on your own, because that'll also show you where others see you as well. So. And it kind of helps you see, okay, should I change this up? Should I narrow this down? Should I come in too broad? Because you definitely don't want to use one that's only you there, because no one's going to probably think to search that hashtag either. So,
right. I have a question. If you, and I don't know if this is stupid, if you have a broad hashtag with a specific hashtag, it doesn't, they don't affect each other, do they?
No.
Okay. So you could go broad and you could go specific and just kind of cover all your gamut.
Each hashtag is its own little bubble.
Yeah.
So
okay.
like even if
my little motto is, Go ahead. I'm sorry. My little motto is like, let your hair inspire. And I throw that in each one. So at the end of the day, if anyone searches that, I'm all they're going to see. But I don't expect anyone who's searching for a stylist to look up that and find me. But the idea is, as I grow, as I brand myself on that, then those who do know me can say, oh, do that, right? So I'm already like building this little pile that I know no one's checking for now. So.
That's smart.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I like it.
I think something too, like Tampa's so broad and Tampa's like central for a lot of smaller areas around. So instead of specifically saying Tampa hairstylist, maybe Tampa Heights stylist or Ybor hairstylist, or, you know, like what little suburb areas are around that you could also get into those hashtags and fill in those spaces for people who are searching for that, because Tampa's so central that, I mean, even if it's Carrollwood or Tampa Heights, you know, it's all centrally located to Tampa. So at least you can get the market people who aren't necessarily in Tampa itself, and you can still get a bunch of those hashtags too.
Yeah, or like style. So like boho photographer or like modern, like those kind of keywords too. I use that a lot in my SEO, just like descriptive words about just that niche already based on location and service, and then also your style of that service.
Right.
Are you guys adding your hashtags onto your captions or adding it on as a comment?
Ooh, this is a good one.
I'm ... like leaving a lot of space and then caption in the caption, but later farther down.
I love that.
That's good. Okay.
I used to do that. So now I do 2 to 3 most relevant hashtags within the actual caption. And then all of the other ancillary ones I put in the comments. And it's actually pretty interesting because when I tag a brand or if I tag my photographer or whoever, sometimes people will actually go in and like the comment with the hashtags on it. So that's also just another way to get some random engagement, is that people go in and like them. But I think it doesn't actually affect your post if you put them in the comments or in the caption.
Okay.
Just like visually.
It's more of an aesthetic. I mean, I don't think
it's good to know.
Matters, but
I hear that, people just don't want to see all that in their comment. That's why I like space far down.
And that's why one of the reasons I love Later is that they added that new feature where it's first comment. So you would have to take your caption, cut it, go in and paste it, and now you can just do first caption, which is, I mean,
I was going to mention that, like on Planoly, it's an upgrade to do that. I pay for the platform, so that's cool. But like the free version, you have to pay extra to get the first comment or caption, whatever.
Cool. I had no idea that existed. That's awesome. Very cool. I love how a lot of this really does come down to aesthetics. So that's nice. Like it's a lot of, magic and science,
a
little bit of everything. All right, so we did talk a little bit about like the reels and stories. Does anyone go live on Facebook or Instagram or anything when using that feature at all, or have a strategy on how to use that feature?
It's on the list.
There's so many things.
Yeah.
Has anyone gone live? Show of hands. I
have, but like twice.
No, it's good. I've only done it like 3 times, so we're good.
I did it in the beginning of quarantine. I did I think it was Wind Down Wednesdays or something. And I would pick like a friend or a business owner and kind of talk about how COVID affected their business, what's their new marketing strategy, how are they pivoting. So it was like a fun way to have a glass of wine virtually and like talk to people. I mean, I love going live. I think it's a ton of fun. I think it's a great way for people to like hop on, hop off. The only thing I see is that people don't want to sit there forever and watch you. Like, I think I'm pretty interesting, but a lot of people don't. And they'd rather just click through my stories and hear me give quick blurts about whatever I'm talking about and read it rather than sit there and wait for the point to come across on an Instagram or live. So that's like the only thing is it's great to have your little bubble pop up to the front and everyone to see you and remember that you exist, but no one on their phone like this for 25 minutes.
Yeah. I like that. Keep it conversational, make it something that it's like you can just pop in and out of. When I've tried to do it, it's been more conversational, awareness, educational, really getting into topics and talking for like an hour. I did them with my husband. So that was really cool, but they're probably not the most watchable, but I feel like they were important to have on there. And I do like that when you do go live on any of these platforms that it keeps it. So I learned how to use this platform, StreamYard, from my husband because he's in marketing. And what's really cool is he knows that when you do it live, you get so much traction and good magical algorithm things. But then also when it keeps it up there as a video, it just continues to garner engagement. So every time someone sees it, it's just keeping track of that. So you're just creating all this momentum and you don't have to do anything. You already did the work. You already were live. It's up there. And now it's just going to keep growing kind of on its own. So I think that's really cool. It just gives you like a bank of content. And so you could probably pick like a theme, you know, making it conversational, like Wind Down Wednesdays is a really great idea. Just like, and I think that really satisfies that like authenticity thing too. Because I feel like with IGTV, a lot of those become very produced. And it is really cool to have, but then you can have that authenticity factor with the live, because you literally are just going live. And I even did one where I invited my husband over to it because he was at band practice. So that was really cool. So we had like the split screen. So it wasn't us trying to like fit into the frame. It was really cool. And I think you could do multiple people, or can you just do two? Does anyone know about that? I think you can invite at least one person to be live with you.
I think it's
But-
just,
Are we talking?
I think it's
Are we
just
talking Instagram?
yeah.
Yeah, I've only done it on Instagram. But you can do it on Facebook too, or you can send it to each other, I think, right?
Yeah, it's like one person, like one.
I think it's just one.
One
Yeah.
guest. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
That's what I thought. Awesome. So cool. So I love that we've talked about like all the things, and it is like very overwhelming. I find that the biggest struggle that I come up with against is just that paralysis of just either having too many things to talk about or post about, or not feeling like you have enough, and just like this, like, I don't know, like I'll do it tomorrow, and then it's been a week, and then you're like, okay, well, I haven't posted anything in a week, so now when I do post, it's got to be really good. So then that becomes another week before you post something. So I find that paralysis is my biggest hurdle, because especially as a photographer, like I don't have a problem of content. It's an issue of curating that content and like deciding what to show. So I feel like a lot of other people though, like they might have an issue where they just don't know, they don't have the content, they don't have the way to show. And so that's like creating all of that is like a problem. So I imagine that for like the rentals, like you guys really depend on other people sending you images of the different, you know, events that you're doing. So, and then coming up with, okay, how do we talk about linens when we don't have visuals, you know, things like that. So is there anything specific that you guys come up against pretty often?
Usually I don't usually have people that send me the stuff.
Yeah, have to go begging for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say one thing that I sometimes personally struggle with is not that I don't talk all the time and I'm very open, like I have a lot of things to talk about, but like curating that towards what I'm actively trying to share, you know, so coming up with a prompt. So I even have like a little list in my Google Drive of like some prompts. So like, hey, I'm going to share a photo today. What's something that's personal I can share about myself that I can relate it to?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I even have clients who aren't getting a bunch of that content. So I'll say, hey, show me the content that you have, and I'll send you a list of prompts that can help you when you're sharing those photos, you know, so coming up with things to talk about and helping clients, you know, how can I use these photos and best, you know, share them in the best way, you know, so prompts kind of help me when I'm stuck at least.
As a planner designer, I think my biggest struggle is that I depend on whoever's capturing my work. So I have to take like a plethora of different editing styles and make it cohesive in my feed. And so that is a real struggle, because my personal aesthetic for like my personal life is very different than my aesthetic for Jet Set Wed. One is light and airy while the other one's a little bit moody and sexy. So it's kind of like I have to mold them through. So it's kind of like a little challenge. It's like almost takes 5 posts to lead up to posting one of theirs. I have to get like darker, and then hit it with that one. And then I have to fade back out to get light and airy. So it's like really a lot of work to work in photographers that don't easily go with my aesthetic, but I love so much. So that's kind of like a struggle.
Yeah, I like the solution though. I wouldn't have thought of that, to try to and like guide it towards what, you know, the ultimate.
Yeah, like throwing in
difference
black
in your-
and whites here and there to lead up to a saturated aesthetic.
Yeah.
I think too, a lot of people forget that Instagram's our highlight reel, and that people don't see your struggles. So I think whenever I talk to clients, I try and figure out, what's the story behind what you do? What's the story behind your brand? What's the story behind your product? Like, there's a reason you did it. There's a reason you're doing it. There's something, and the consumers want to know you. They want to know what you're going through. So I think if you ever get stuck and you're like, well, what do I post? What should I talk about? What should relate it back to people? If this wedding was super hard, or you wanted to change something, be honest and open about it. Describe the story, tell them why it happened, tell them how you got there, or what you loved about it, or the story about the bride and groom, or why they picked that color, or they picked that linen, or they picked like all of that stuff. For me, if I go on a company's page and I click on something, I want to know why or what. I don't want to see like sunshine in Florida, happy day. I have like once in a while, it's nice to have fluff and some fun, but I want to know about you, and I want to see who you are, and I want to see what you're doing, and all of that. I think it's much more authentic, and it comes off as like a true, genuine care about what you do, and that you're a real relatable person. It definitely makes me want to buy your service necessarily. That's just
right. That was really good. I want to ask you, when you get those answers of why and what, and when you're looking for it, do you want to see that in the Instagram post? Do you want to see that in the caption? Like, where do you actually think that that's probably the best for it? Because sometimes I find myself writing too much, or, and it's like, are they really going to stop here and read all of this just for a picture? Or are you wanting to see it actually show and answer those questions in whatever that content is? I think that's really good.
I think so. I always say that on your Instagram feed as a highlight, you should have something about you. If you have a product, I want to know about the product, but I also want to know who's the person that created that product. Tell me about yourself. Why did you do it? What are your favorite hobbies? I'm gonna be like, oh, like me and this girl could be friends. Like, now I'm totally involved, and now I want to read more about your product. I want to DM you. I want to hang out. So I think when you're creating those captions and stuff, not more is not necessarily better, but being genuine and honest, I think is 100% the way to go. So if you have a client that just told you their life story, and you post about doing their hair at their wedding, include a snippet of that. Like, one of my favorite things about working with people is that I get to hear their life stories and connect with people, and like use that as a way to show that it's not just hair, you're a person, and that you are basically like your hair therapist. And for me, I'm going to be like, oh, she cares about her people. She knows her clients. She is clearly involved. Yeah. Like that's something that I think people are going to stop and go, oh, that's different. Like, that's nice.
Which is so true.
I love it.
My hairstylist knows everything about my entire life. Like, even if it's someone I'm just meeting for the first time getting my hair done, like the moment you sit down, it's kind of like, all right, here's like my whole
here we go.
Minute for you.
Yeah. And like the perfect example is when we got married, we have a dog walker that I found on Instagram, and she comes to the house and she does everything. She made a post on our wedding day of our 2 dogs on our patio, and she said, congratulations on your big day, loving on your pups for you. And I was like, that's just a little bit of something that when someone reads that, they're going to be like, oh, wow, like their dog walker is also their friend,
Yeah.
Love it.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Well, that's a perfect segue into the few things that I want to talk about before we're done today. And that is going to be just what your personal philosophy might be on what you're posting. So obviously telling your story and your why, all of that is really important. But where do you draw a line when it comes to like political posts or just human rights things or things that you might be passionate about? Do you have a strategy for that, or do you kind of just like have a black and white approach to it, or do you kind of just make the call based on like what's going on?
I feel like this has been, I'll try and talk about it. I mean, Ashley and I, we've had a lot of conversations about this. I'm very, very active on posts on my personal Instagram, which I feel like my clients who I'm very close with also follow me on my personal Instagram versus my business page. So I'm constantly posting on my Instagram. Friends on my Facebook actively see what I'm posting, and I don't think it's that I don't want to post to my business, but I'm probably more active personally on my personal Instagram, that's just what I gravitate towards to post. And I'm hiding it from my clients. Like, they definitely know my stance and where I'm at on things. But I just feel like I share most of that on my personal Instagram versus my business. But I've definitely made it known, or I've made a statement on my business page, like, this is what I stand for, this is what my business stands for, and I make it very clear without having to post all of like stories all day on my business Instagram. That's just me.
Yeah. Do a lot of people have like a separate personal and then have their business that's separated?
I do, yeah. For me,
I think I'm
it's
the only
really
one that does that.
for me, I think it's really about authenticity. I think that just being really authentic. If you're the kind of person that would never keep their mouth shut in public, then don't keep your mouth shut in social.
Agreed.
I like that.
It makes sense, you know, but I think if you're somebody who would never speak up in public and then you're like being so vocal and social, then it's not authentic and it's not heard, you know? So what I just tend to just, because I'm kind of like really accepting to a point. So I think when something needs to be said, then I'll put it through, because it's really, I want to make sure that I am shutting out all the people that I don't want to contact me or to follow me. So as long as I just sprinkle that in here and there, just to make sure those people know I'm not for them, that's my business platform strategy for those kind of issues. I just want to make it clear I'm not for you, but I don't want to I'm not there to spread a particular political message. I'm there to just tell you I'm not for you, if that's the case. And then in my personal, that's where I can speak authentically.
Right.
Right. I think that is very important, kind of going off what you were just saying, that whatever you put out there, you have to be willing to continue in that conversation, whatever comes back from it. So in my business, I don't want to be Hair Inspired Sierra speaking about all of these different avenues. So if I'm going to talk about it, I'll talk about it from my personal page, because there's a little less risk when it comes to just me talking about how I feel, my experiences, whether it be political, activist content, whatever it regards to. But it's just me. I'm not carrying the burden of my entire business at that time, and I'm not making that a part of my brand. So I try to keep it both separate, but I also come from a very corporate background where those aren't things that you talk about anyways in business. So my mindset, I've definitely carried that on to the other side. But I do sometimes think about it like, do you not stand anywhere? Because I look at my business page and I think to myself, do you not have a stance? Do you not have a voice? And I do think about that sometimes. I challenge myself, because I know Sierra Kelly does, but can Hair Inspired Sierra be completely different from Hair Inspired by Sierra? So I've been definitely trying to figure out what that's going to look like for me, for sure. So
yeah, I feel like in this season, it is important to have a stance and to show it. But how loudly is, I think, up to the person, and where your comfortableness is. I mean, some people are uncomfortable not sharing that much, you know, which be authentic. But I think it is important to have that stance. So
I think too.
Absolutely.
I had a conversation probably, I can't even tell you the time now. I all switched together, but let's go within the last 8 weeks. We had like a roundtable discussion, and it was a bunch of business owners, and it was, you know, basically at the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. And they go, you know, what should I do? What shouldn't I do? And I asked them, I said, well, what do you think as the owner of your business? What is your opinion? Are you for or against it? If you're for it and you want to talk to people about it and you're talking about it in your everyday life, I highly encourage you to put it on your business, because yes, it can be polarizing, but you're also you're going to weed out the people that you don't want to do business with. So if they don't agree with you on it, well, I mean, it's you lost that person, but that's not necessarily somebody you want in your business or to work with or to be around it. I think there's a difference between going full gung-ho, like out there, every story, every day. But I definitely think that yes, you can separate your business and your personal life, but at some point you are your business and your business is your personal life. So finding the balance of being able to talk about the topics that are important, things that are important to you, and things that are important to the people you want to work with. So imagine posting something that someone's going to come across your feed and go, thank you. Like, you are 100% getting my business. Like, you stand up for me, you stand up, whatever it is I think extremely important. And I think that old marketing way of saying that we have no opinion now has been talked about the window.
Yeah.
Businesses are being forced to make statements now of where they stand, where their money is going, who they're donating to, because the consumers are becoming so smart that they can backtrack all of that information and know when you're lying. So I think,
and they care where their money's going now.
So much. So I think that with your business, you have to have an opinion. It's not really a gray matter subject. It's you either are going to do it or you're not going to do it, and you need to find if it's a yes or a no.
If you post, you kind of have to go in knowing that you have some clients doing it, which if you have the mindset that already might happen, then it is what it is. So even me, like my values and what I stand for in my business, I've lost clients who have been clients for years, who I personally love. We've had like great content, we've created great content together, but they're no longer my client because we just don't align on issues. And I feel like that's totally okay. You could have a client for 3 years and then post like, you know, this is how I'm actively handling situations and this is my mentality and, you know, XYZ. And if they decide that that's not what their stance is, like you have to be okay with being like, all right, just not the best fit anymore, or like even ongoing. But even through posting, I found creatives and clients who are posting the same content who I haven't had really in-depth conversations, but now I am. So I'm closer to people that I never would have thought in the beginning, just like posting that. So it's kind of like, you know, always.
Which is the point of social media.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think it keeps the conversation going. Yeah, it keeps the conversation going. And
I've had clients lose 200, 400, 600 followers from posting their opinion, and they go, oh my gosh, what do I do? I'm losing followers. And I'm like, followers that don't matter.
Right.
And commenting and talking to you that do matter. Your engagement just went up. People are now telling people about your brand. Like, you're getting more reputable, you're getting more support. So it's not necessarily like I'm going to fret because I'm losing people or I'm hurting people's feelings, but staying true and authentic.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's key for sure. I love it. Awesome. Well, is there anyone out there that wants to ask us any questions or anything? Do you guys have anything specific?
I have a question for Ashley, only because I know like you don't have a Facebook, like your main Instagram is your business Instagram, and I know how active you are posting, and this is a conversation that we've had, but since like all of us are on a call, can you kind of say your feedback as to like you're posting on your stories and your feed and like kind of like the feedback you've been getting from clients? Or
Yeah, thank you for that. So I quit Facebook in 2016 because it was a cesspool that I was like just not engaging with.
Such an accurate word.
It was a time vampire for me where I would check it, but I would not comment, post, engage. I was just regurgitating what was on my Instagram to my business page, maybe. So I just decided, you know what, I'm not even using it, so why bother? Like, I'd rather focus my energies on one place. And if a potential client doesn't want to work with me because I'm not on Facebook, then we're not going to work together. You know, it didn't really bother me. So I went ahead and just like left it in the dust, and I felt really great without having to deal with it. And it has not negatively impacted my business at all. I've been growing steadily. Everything's fine. Like, I didn't notice a single result besides my more happiness of leaving it behind. So I think it's, you know, it's a personal choice. So I only use Instagram, and I toyed with the idea. I actually have a personal account, but I don't think I've logged into it in like 2 years, because it just, for me, like, I get very ADD, very scatterbrained. So like, it was just too much. So I'd like having just one platform, just one account. Has been really nice. And then that's just where I put everything. So for the longest time, I really didn't speak up on a lot of things. I was like, well, I'll just keep it pretty. You know, people want to see pretty. I don't know. But it got to a point this year, you know, with the murder of George Floyd and just the the ignition of everyone just really paying attention and then being able to fully participate in the conversation and learn and grow and show up. It became very important to me, and things that I was already passionate about, it just like got reignited in a huge way. And so I've been super transparent about it. I've been posting, I post every day on stories about things, resharing things. And I like to really be in real time. So there'd be things that I post and then I fact check and then I take it down and I say, hey guys, actually no, you know, or someone will come to me and be like, oh, did you know this? Or, oh, actually that's only this, you know? And so it's been a really amazing way for me to stay engaged and to continue to grow and learn. And I've been trying to figure out my own tactic on, okay, this is my only outlet. I want people to know who I am and what I stand for. And I want to center other stories and voices, and I want to share information. So I actually use a lot of my own wedding photos to post about things that I learned. So I would use my content and I would say what it is, but then I'd also post about, you know, Emmett Till, or, you know, pick a subject, you know, like anything. So I thought that was really helpful. I also love how Eileen Latour uses hers. Like she'll post, you know, her couple, and then the next couple post that it'll be like a, you know, multi-post. And so her next couple pictures will be about a certain topic or something. And I think like there's so many creative ways and different, there's just so many ways that you can use your platform to use your voice. And so I've just been using it a lot, but I think that is authentic to who I am. And I like have to bite my tongue a lot in person. So I think it works for me, and I like that it is all in one place. And then I also, on my newsletter, I put everything in there too to try to give people like a synopsis. And I had people that messaged me like, I'm not interested in this kind of content. And I was like, fine, like unsubscribe. Like that's totally fine. Like, you know, like, but I'm not going to stop. So,
so you've decided to use your business and your platform to be an advocate.
Yes. So I decided,
so that's a very firm, conscious decision, which I think is really cool, because then it helps you. It helps you to like move forward and just like commit to that, and then explain that to everyone who has any issues.
It also shows
what it is now.
It also shows your authenticity from the beginning. Yeah. Like it shows that you have been this way, you continue to be this way, and this is your brand. Like it wasn't
just one black square 3 months ago.
Like, hop into it right at this time. It's like you consistently been that way.
That's the thing I think is working for you, is that it isn't like, for lack of a better word, half-assed. It's like it's a commitment, you know, and this is who you are and moving forward. And this is like, it just gives it more power, I think.
Yeah. I really,
she wasn't just like a business statement.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I think I've chosen that lane, and then, you know, and I've been consistent in the way that I use it. And I really see like, you know, I only have like 4,000 followers or whatever, but I have that power. Like I have 4,000 more than someone that has 2 followers, you know, and even if one post connects with one person, then I think it's worth it. It's worth it for me to do it. And I've gotten that feedback, and now I'm trying to be more engaging with it. Cause I feel like a lot of what I've been posting is a lot of talking at, and I'm not very good. I'm trying to learn about how to engage more and how to ask questions. So when I do post questions and things, I feel like I get crickets. So like that's my next like learning curve, I guess, is to like really get that engagement instead of it just being like a, hey, I see you, cool, like I agree, like, you know. So
well, even to your point of saying that you only have 4,000 followers, it's something I hate when people say, I don't care if you have 2, 12, 1,200, 120. Every single person has a voice, and we're all on social media, and everyone can choose how they want to use it, and to be authentic and to genuinely speak to people like social media was meant to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't matter how many you have, but everyone can do a little bit.
That's my thing. Like, I just encourage you to find your lane, you know, find it. If it's posting something once in a while, or, you know, literally every day, like just find it and keep showing up. Like that's what we need.
Totally.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you guys all for being here and being so vulnerable and honest, and like keeping your heads on straight with all of these things. It's so much. I wanted to end with asking if you guys have any ideas about what we should talk about next month. So we'll have our next Tuesday talk on October 6th. And that's going to be the kickoff for what would be fall wedding season. So, this is a group about events, Empower events. Do we want to talk about, I don't know, like what's happening with music and theater and all these other in-person things that we can't do? Do you guys have any ideas about things you might want to talk about?
I think so. I mean, my boyfriend's in music, so I personally understand like the music struggle, like being a musician. But I was also with Ben Daniele yesterday of Grant Heeman, where he's been with Grant Heeman forever. So we had a video shoot. He was talking about how hard the music industry has been hit for them, and kind of like DJs in general, like has been hit hard. I mean, even you bringing up music now, I was like, you're talking about it yesterday, how like that part of the event industry has been hit really hard, like live musicians, DJs, anyone like bands, and so I mean that might be something good too.
Might be interesting.
In another month too, I mean, either the numbers are going to go down or they're going to go crazy again with, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we could do a check-in, like a COVID check-in. Our first talk was about contracts and figuring out rescheduling. We've all been dealing with different waves of rescheduling. I have like people in the spring that want to reschedule. So it's definitely a lot of unknowns still. So we could do a check-in on, what are everyone's best practices now because it does change.
I think also talking about like micro weddings.
Yeah.
Because that's what we did. We did 25 people, including us, and everyone got tested and quarantined for 2 weeks. And our wedding planner was actually talking about how a lot of magazines and stuff are now picking up micro weddings and how the next wave of things are going to be so much smaller and intimate, and like how that works with vendors and musicians, and like because you scale everything down so much is like comparing old school weddings to like new life weddings.
Right.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I think elopements are on the rise for sure. People either just pivoting and reimagining as a micro wedding or moving to 2022, I think that's really become the reality of, making those choices and getting yourself out of limbo. I feel like the hardest part for my couples has been not knowing what to do and sort of that waiting game of seeing what the numbers are. Like the numbers are just continuing to climb, like I don't really think there is an end in sight right now. So I think the best thing to do is to make a decision. So either you're getting married this year or next year and you're going to do it in a safe way by doing it small, or you're going to just completely move it and hope that you'll be able to have something different later. But making that decision, I think, is going to be the best thing for all of our couples, because being in between and hoping that next week brings different information is just, it's a huge burden on the heart.
Yeah. I think micro weddings is a good topic because I know I'm booking them like crazy. It's really like been insane. I have 3 calls today, just new inquiries about micro weddings, and I had one at 9. And I think that there are the same struggles that I have to talk about with these clients, and then it trickles down to vendors. And that is them thinking because of 9 people, for example, or 10 people or 12 people or 20 people, that everything's going to be cheaper, when in fact your food and beverages, the end. Yeah. Like that's it. Every single other vendor is going to charge like your 150 person wedding because their job is the same. Unless they pick a weekday. So I keep like explaining that, and that's just not, it's just hard to, I guess, get that through.
Definitely.
So that's the biggest struggle.
It's a weird thing to navigate the micro weddings thing. Like it was much more, not difficult, but tricky, I guess. Because logically you're like, oh, it's less people. I don't need this. I don't need that. I'm going to save so much money. When in reality, it's actually about the same, but it's 10 times more beautiful and intimate.
Yeah, like, that's it. It's better.
Yeah.
But it's not cheaper. Right. It is for like the food and beverage is huge. I mean, food and beverage is going to be like 60% of your budget. So that definitely knocks it down. But all those other areas are the same price. Photographers are still photographing.
It shows just how much people didn't understand how weddings work to begin with.
in the first place. Yeah.
So I think that'll be really good. Let's do it then. So next month we'll do micro weddings, and we'll talk about, you know, why weddings cost what they cost, and then how you can really get what the benefits are of doing it micro.
And how you can avoid it. You avoid the cost and put money in all of our pockets that we wouldn't have otherwise, because weekdays do that for you too.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, being flexible. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. This has been
Thanks
awesome.
for having us.
Yay! Everyone was awesome.
Cool. Thanks for having us.
You're so welcome. This is awesome. So if you guys want to spread the word about Empower Events, we are raising money for grants to give to struggling businesses in the event space. EmpowerEventsTB.com is our website. You can find this stream on Facebook and on YouTube. It'll stay up there, which is really awesome. We're going to be famous, guys. And we are going to have another talk. So if you know anyone that really wants to talk about micro weddings, I think having another bride that has gone through the experience would be amazing. Or groom, you know, grooms and brides, all of it. So yeah, spread the word. Micro weddings will be back in a month, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your week.
Likewise.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
All right.